Alright, so today I'll be talking about some lighting stuff that you can be doing. Um, it's a really different process compared to like stick notes and stuff. I'll try to get it as similar as possible. So right here, well, let me get a red. Right here, that's our light source, that little yellow dot right there. This is our background, the floor, and this right here is going to be our object. I have no idea what it is, but whatever. Alright, so as you can see, light is kind of in the background, and the green is towards the camera more, which is toward the foreground. So it's kind of at an angle, and it's closer to us. That'll help us. And there are a ton of ways you can do this. But since we're using Flash and we're trying to represent stick notes a little bit, I'll try to get it, as close to it as possible. So in stick notes, I believe you can, let's say, you have your object, whatever you want to, let's say it's this, and it's normal in the previous frames, and then the light happens. Then what you want to do is take this object right here, edit it, and then add a sort of, you can add the color of the explosion or whatever the light is. So let's say it's yellow. You can add a yellow kind of highlight facing where the light is coming from. That's a fairly simple way. And the other way is you can add a lighter shade of green, I guess. So you kind of want to get it yellow as well because you want to match the color of the light source. So it can kind of look like that. That's like the first kind of like step. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get yellow. I'm going to go over it like this. And if you can, when you're doing the yellow, if there's any way to lower the opacity of the yellow only of those nodes. Oops. So if you can lower the opacity a little bit, ooh, I messed up. It's supposed to be on a new layer. By lowering the opacity, you're keeping some of the color from the explosion as well as kind of showing what's behind it, You want to kind of show that there's the green part behind it, but it's covered in yellow. So that kind of gets the effect of placing a lighter green. And then what you can do is you can add a shadow. So make another stick or whatever. Or if you want to do it in the same part. What you can do is you add a shadow. And you can also, well, first let's just focus on the shadow. So you add a shadow in the opposite direction of the light, which is pretty simple, and then lower the opacity so that it looks like a shadow. And you can make it as long as you want because the lower the light source and the more powerful, the longer the shadow is going to be. And you can just adjust it to how you kind of want the feel to be. And then another thing that you can do is you can darken this side of the object that you're using. In order to contrast. But don't darken it too much so that it's a huge difference. Just kind of. So right now I'm just covering it in black, lowering the opacity, and I mean I might even add a blur just to see what it looks like. Yeah, like that. And then in stick nodes, so for Flash I can just add a glow here. I can make it yellow. But in stick nodes, let's say you want to make this light brighter and kind of affect the whole area. What you can do is get kind of copy and paste and have two of the same object over each other. Then get either the top object or the bottom object, and kind of what we want to do is put the blur to like max. So hold on, let me just paste. Alright, so put the blur to like max. Here it's going to be a little different because the blur is stronger, so I'll add it like there. You can put the blur to the object's blur to max, and then expand its size, kind of like, and it should look kind of like this. And if that doesn't look quite right, you can lower the opacity and adjust it so that it kind of fits what you're looking for. And that's also another way of showing a kind of lighting effect. So let's say you had another object over here and you just wanted to go real simple with it. You didn't want to take the time to do all this over here. What you can do is get your blurred lighting effect kind of thing like this, and just make it really big. Make sure its blurs all the way up, and then lower the opacity a lot. And it kind of shows this like light that's around it. And you can of course adjust it as much as possible, and if you want to add more blur, just blur as much as possible. And it kind of shows this area that it's affecting around it. So that's basically it. Unfortunately, I couldn't show you in stick notes, and it would have been a little easier for you. But if you kind of follow those kind of the same steps, you should be able to create some pretty good lighting effects. And if you have any questions, just text me. Alrighty. That concludes our class today. Good job, students.